Call the City Council regular meeting to order for Monday, May 1st, 2023. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Hoyt.
Here.
Councilmember Burnett.
Here.
Councilmember Lean.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson.
Yes, here.
And Councilmember Porter has an excused absence.
All right, thank you. Unless there are any changes to the agenda, we look for a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Holly, second by Steve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll move on to agenda item 5. 5.1 is the proclamation for Farmington due days. And Farmington City Code Section 3, TAC 11, TAC 4 states that it is unlawful for any person to drink or to display in an open container any intoxicating liquor or non-intoxicating malt liquor upon any public street, alley, sidewalk, walkway, or thoroughfare within the city limits of Farmington. City Code Section 311, TAC 5 exemptions allows the City Council to grant an exception by proclamation for a specific period of time to accommodate a public, civic, or municipal activity community-wide, such as a celebration or festival. Staff is requesting that Council grant this exception for the 2023 Due Days Festival. Is there any discussion regarding the proclamation and/or its impact? If there is no discussion, then we would look for a motion to approve the proclamation for due days, June 22nd to the 25th, 2023.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Nick, second by Steve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, and at this time, we will read through the due days proclamation for this year's event.
Proclamation Farmington Due Days. Whereas in 1979, Pepsi Cola announced that the citizens of Farmington drink more Mountain Dew per capita than any other city, and whereas a city festival was planned to celebrate, and the citizens of Farmington have continued to support this festival for the past 41 years, and
whereas Farmington City Code Section 3 TAC 11 TAC 5 allows the City Council to grant an exception to Ordinance Section 3 TAC 11 TAC 4 prohibition, which states that it is unlawful for any person to drink or to display in an open container any intoxicating liquor or non-intoxicating malt liquor upon any public street, alley, sidewalk, walkway, or thoroughfare within the city limits of Farmington, and
Whereas an exception to the ordinance will be made by proclamation for a specified period of time to accommodate a public, civic, or municipal activity, community-wide, such as a celebration or festival, where the public may enjoy local and regional music and arts, activities, history, and culture, and
Whereas the festival may have changed its name, location, and activities over the years, but the one thing that has not changed is the citizens of Farmington who love to celebrate each summer.
now therefore, I, Mayor Joshua Hoyt, on behalf of the City Council of the City of Farmington, do hereby proclaim an exception to City Code Section 3 TAC 11 TAC 4 for due days from Thursday, June 22nd through Sunday, June 25th, and ask that the citizens of Farmington join me in celebrating due days, June 22nd through June 25th, 2023. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Farmington, Minnesota to be affixed on this first day of May 2023. All right, moving on. We have our public comment portion. Seeing no one in attendance, we'll move on to item 7, which is our consent agenda. Unless there are changes, we look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
motion.
Motion by Holly.
Second.
Second by Nick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. And we'll move on to new business item 12.1, which is to authorize a professional services agreement for the Akin Road Improvement Construction Services. John.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. The city intends to use for the Akin Road Improvement Project municipal state aid construction funds. Little background about municipal state aid funds. At the state, it starts with the Highway User Tax Distribution Fund, and then that's divided up based on percentages to various groups, roads and bridges, things like that. And cities of a population of 5,000 or over are municipal state aid cities. And an allocation is given to the city based on our population and based on our construction needs. And that is our allocation for our annual allocation. Cities are allowed to take a certain percentage of that as maintenance. We currently take 25%, and then the balance goes into a construction account. So we essentially have a account at the state for our municipal state aid funds, and we get about $800,000 or $900,000 a year. So over 2 or 3 years, we've accumulated enough funds to pay for a project. That's why we're using state aid funds on this particular project. But using municipal state aid funds does require a much higher level of engineering administration than a typical project. Examples include a review of labor submittals, labor compliance reviews, strict adherence to a materials testing protocol, submittal of contract and pay documents to state aid for their review. And so staff is recommending use of an engineering consultant for this project. Earlier this year, we established the consultant pool, and WSB is one of the firms in the consultant pool with extensive experience in construction administration. The major portions of their scope include project management, construction administration, observation and inspection. Their scope also includes all the surveying, as well as all the construction materials testing. So WSB happens to, well, they don't happen to have, they have a AASHTO approved lab in Burnsville, so they can do all the testing themselves. The total estimated not to exceed cost for this work is $142,303, all of which is proposed to be recovered via the municipal state aid construction account. Generally, state aid limits project development and construction costs to fees to 25% of the construction costs, so we're well under that. We anticipate that we'd recover all of the engineering, construction engineering costs through our state aid fund. So staff's recommendation is approving a professional services agreement with WSB for the Akin Road Improvement Construction Services and authorize the mayor and city administrator to execute same. And the PSA, or professional service agreement, that's attached is a format that was provided to us by the city attorney, and we have just a few fill in the blanks. The rest of it remains the same, so we don't get into extensive review every time we do these.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, Steve?
You know, John, I did think of one question I have. So I believe we had another consultant that essentially designed the scope and the estimated project costs and all that, and then we made the decision as a city to delay the project from last year to this year. So is the requirement, or is some of the work that WSB would be doing, is there any type of redundancy? And if so, it probably just is what it is, but I was kind of curious about that.
Mayor and council members, there is no redundancy. Actually, we've asked WSB to do a constructability review, which is very common in projects of this scope. So you have a new set of eyes, new set of designers, take a look at the project, see if there's constructability issues or any ambiguity in the documents. And now that we're moving into construction, we just won't use that portion of the contract that we had with the other consultant. It's state aid, it's a much different administration, so we're just using WSB, so there's really no overlap.
Perfect, thank you.
So that, just so I understand, it will be the same plan as it was last year then? We're just executing and they're basically supervising the construction then?
That's correct. I would clarify, due to years of training, that we don't supervise the construction. We observe it, we document it, we inspect it. Supervising takes on a greater role than we have typically on construction projects. But it's everything that needs to be done for construction, all the administration, surveying, construction materials testing.
Thank you.
Holly?
Nothing for me, thank you.
I don't have anything else either, John. We look for a motion to approve a professional services agreement with WSB for the Akin Road Improvement Construction Services and authorize the mayor and city administrator to execute the same.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Nick, second by Steve. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Bernat,
Yes.
Councilmember Lean,
Yes.
Councilmember, excuse me, Peterson here, Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor White,
Yes.
4 yeas.
All right. Then we will move on to new business item 12 TAC 2, which is receive bids and award a contract for the Akin Road Improvement Project.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is the actual contract award. The city council approved the plans and specifications back on March 20th and authorized an advertisement for bids. 5 bids were received. The apparent low bidder is McNamara Contracting in the amount of $1,880,886.20, which is about 14% less than the engineer's estimate, even before their contingency was added on. So looking at the bids, we believe we've got excellent bids. We've got 5 bidders. It was very competitive, and we're very comfortable with the cost of the contract. In addition to that, McNamara Contracting has extensive experience in these types of projects. They're close, so we're very confident they can successfully deliver the project. One thing that is different is I want to note that public improvement contracts are based on estimated quantities. So we have maybe a list of 70 items and an estimated quantity, and the actual quantity is measured in the field, and we pay based on the actual quantity. So the final contract amount can vary from the original amount. Additionally, construction issues arise which require an immediate decision, and we really can't wait for the next council meeting for formal approval. It's something where if a crew encounters something, we're basically paying the crew time until we make a decision to go one way or another to take action. So we're also recommending and requesting approval of a change order contingency of $188,000, which is about 10% of the contract, be established as an aggregate of all change order increases with a maximum amount of $50,000 allowed for any single change order increase without prior city council approval. This is not something that's new. I've worked in other cities, probably going back a couple of decades, and we use the same contingency to give essentially a pre-authorization to keep things moving in the field. We do bring things to council as soon as we can, particularly major issues, but it's a lot of the minor issues where technically we're altering the contract, and we like to have some permission in advance for doing that. So our recommendation is to accept the bids and award the contract for the Akin Road improvements to McNamara Contracting in the amount of their bid, and authorize the mayor and city administrator to execute the contract. And this would include approval of a change order contingency of $188,000 as an aggregate of all change orders with a maximum amount of $50,000 for any single change order without prior city council approval.
Thank you, sir.
Questions?
Questions, Steve?
Yeah, I do have to ask a question. So this project is going to start when, roughly? I mean, it's June-ish maybe, or before?
Yeah, Mayor and council members, road closures would not occur until school is out. Once we have the contract, the first thing we'll ask the contractor for is a schedule, and we'll have a much better handle on that, but it's basically going to be completed this summer. It's maybe 8 or 9 weeks worth of work, we're thinking.
Yeah. So here's the concern I have about so a lot of times we do not have a council meeting the first week in July or the first, so essentially we could go mid-June to mid-July. And if something came up where it was over 50,000, that actually could be a big gap. So I feel like that could actually hamper or put some cuffs around the project. So I'd kind of like a little bit more flexibility towards you and the contractor in some way. Do you guys hear what I'm saying with that? I mean, especially if we have a big gap where you're like, well, we really need to make this change, but our policy is 50,000, but I feel 99% sure our council's going to approve it, but we still have to wait. I feel like we've kind of place some restrictions on efficiency of getting a project done.
Well, Mayor and council members, I identified the $50,000 based on the scope of the project. We're not doing a lot of extensive water main or sanitary sewer work here, which we're getting into underground facilities and potential utility conflicts. It's a small amount of storm sewer, maybe 700 feet, and curb and gutter, and the rest of it is really grading. It's reclaiming the pavement and then paving, so we're confident with a $50,000 increase limit that we would not handcuff the project.
Okay.
And on that point, John, worst case, if there was a single line that were to exceed $50,000 with the public notice via the city clerk, we could call a special meeting to make sure that we are not only in compliance with all open meeting laws, but also to make sure that it doesn't slow down the project.
Certainly.
So,
Yep.
anything else on that, Steve? No?
The city fiber runs up Akin already, right? So there wouldn't be any deals with Hiawatha getting blocked by the road construction or anything like that, right? No.
Mayor and council members, no, we don't anticipate any interference with HBC's fiber build out this year. They're aware that the project's going on. They've raised no issues or concerns.
That 10%, the 188,000 sounds familiar. It's the same percentage we used for Spruce Street, I think, last year too, right? Same number. And then, yeah, it's nice to see the bids coming in close together as opposed to some of the wild ranges we saw last year on some of our projects. So hopefully that's the consultant pool doing its job the way we wanted it to, so.
Well, I'm sorry, Mayor and council members, this design was mostly developed before we had the pool in place. But like I said, it's a fairly straightforward type of project. There's not a lot of uncertainty related to sewer, deep sanitary sewer and water mains, things like that. It does reflect, we believe, that the contractors all looked at the project about the same way and interpreted the documents accordingly, so that's definitely a positive.
Sure. That's it for me.
Thank you. Holly?
Everybody answers my questions tonight.
I don't have any other questions myself. Look for a motion to accept the bids and award of the contract for the construction of the Akin Road Improvement Project to McNamara Contracting of Rosemont in the amount of the bid, $1,880,886,000.20, and authorize the mayor and city administrator to execute the same. This includes approval of a change order contingency of $188,000, approximately 10% of the contract, be established as an aggregate of all change order increases with a maximum amount of $50,000, allowed for any single change order increase without prior city council approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Nick. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lean,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Councilmember Burnett,
Yes.
Mayor White.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, City Council Roundtable. You didn't get to ask any questions, so Holly gets to lead.
Oh, I get to lead, huh? Well, it's May. So we'll be talking about the weather. No, that's not fair. Actually, what I wanted to bring up were two things that were included in the consent agenda that really just support the work of the Farmington Police Department. More than anything, just to bring it to light, because I think a lot of times we gloss over that. One of them was the approval of the Dakota County Drug Task Force Joint Powers Agreement that continues to work in mitigating, forgive me, I am like gonna cough, drug issues in Dakota County. The second is the renewal of the body camera contract for the next 5 years. I just think that these are both great things that really continue to support the Farmington Police Department and the work that they're doing, and I wanted to highlight them.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess I'd second that comment. I mean, from all I've ever understood, you guys were kind of early adopters of that whole system, so as always, your department continues to be ahead of the curve. Thank you to Josh for your well-delivered State of the City, as always. It was nice to be at my second one now, so
Thank you.
other than that, I don't have a whole lot.
Thank you, sir.
I don't have any comments tonight.
That allowed? So my comment is not a legal one, but apparently there were 2 bison calves born to Dakota County Spring Lake Park Reserve herd that they have, and I'm very excited to go see them. Hopefully, I'll be able to spot them. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I too wanted to thank the mayor for the State of the City address that you gave on Thursday, and to remind the audience members, if they did not get a chance to watch it live stream or in person, that they can go to the Farmington YouTube channel and watch it. And I encourage you to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, I want to comment on the State of the City address that as a new employee, I really think it's wonderful how you've added the fourth pillar in support of your employees. And everyone here has just been so welcoming and friendly, and it's truly a wonderful, wonderful place to work. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Julie?
I would just simply add, we are really still looking for seasonal staff across parks and a number of positions, so.
Thank you, ma'am. Deanna?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. At the State of the City, we had our flyers and our little business cards driving people to the social pinpoint site to participate in the community engagement portion of our comprehensive plan and community vision. So I just encourage people to do that. We'll have a lot more information out and about. That was sort of a good event to be able to kind of introduce it to the community. So I'm excited to see what will happen, and you'll hear more about that in the upcoming months. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. John?
Thank you, Mayor. We have completed hydrant flushing until after school is closed, so we do all the hydrant flushing, and then once school is out for the year, we flush the area over by the high school. We will have a water main repair this week, as long as weather holds, over on Dunbury Avenue. We had a leak in the backyard between a cul-de-sac and a roadway. It was a water main loop. So immediately we actually put a valve on one end. It allowed us to isolate that, but now we're gonna go in and actually make the repair. We'll have a contractor doing that. So that'll occur hopefully sometime this week. And our next likely activity, big activity, will be bituminous patching. So flushing, sweeping, patching, now that we're not dealing with the white stuff, so.
Thank you, sir. Kelly?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the last week of the first phase of engagement for the Ramblin' River Park Master Plan. The social pinpoint map and also the survey can be found at www.farmingtonmn.gov. And it is Pond and Park Cleanup Saturday. If you're looking to help out, we would sure take more school groups, neighborhood groups, sports teams, individuals. If you're interested in volunteering, contact Emily Shearer or Ed Rutledge, and we'll get you signed up on Saturday.
Thank you, ma'am. Chris?
We formally started the budget process last week, and we're almost done with phase one of that process, where we come up with what is the costs to keep the lights on here and things like that in the city. So I should have numbers by that wrapped up easily by the end of this week. So that's kind of where we're at.
Thank you, sir. Chief?
We're just over 2 months away from our big 150th celebration coming up, July 15th at the Dakota County Fairgrounds. So we're celebrating the 150th anniversary of fire service here in Farmington. We're going to have an open house at the fire station at noon, starting with the parade at 4 o'clock to the fairgrounds, and then our bands start at 5 o'clock at the fairgrounds with the big grand finale of the fireworks at 10 o'clock. We are selling raffle tickets for that, so there's over $20,000 in prizes. So find your favorite firefighter, they all have them, buy them from them. Stop by the Farmington liquor stores, they're on sale there. Hope to see everyone there.
Thank you. Chief?
Well, that's a tough act to follow. My open house isn't going to be quite that cool, but
You're not going to have fireworks?
We're not going to have fireworks or $20,000 in raffle prizes. We will have a scavenger hunt, so that will be cool. We have bounce houses and SWAT trucks and cool stuff like that. Most importantly, that'll be Saturday, May 20th from 11 to 2. But most importantly, in addition to all that other stuff, come out and get an opportunity to meet some of the fantastic men and women that serve and protect the city.
Thank you, sir. Nothing? You sure? All right, fair enough. Yeah, spring is finally here. You know, I think I can speak for many people that have looked at our calendars in the last couple of weeks and started to check off all of the weekends through the summer and realize that we often try to cram too much into that 3 or 4 month period of time, but get outside and enjoy the weather. You know, spring sports have all started up. They're in full swing. Before we know it, we're going to be talking about kids getting out of school. It comes upon us real quick. Construction season is officially in full swing. People have seen Spruce Street getting worked on, the enhancements to the front of Schmitz-Mackey Arena. We talked tonight and accepted for the Akin Road project. Very much needed project. Granted, it was pushed off last year with a few other things going on, but that'll be over before it starts. Last week, we did have the State of the City. One of the things as mayor that I get to do is the State of the City, and it's a very proud moment. There's a personal piece to it for me, but it's a real reflection of what the body of the council, the team that is the city of Farmington, what we do for our residents. And the one piece in there that could not go understated was the importance of your team. And that isn't just the team that sits here in chambers for our meetings. It's every member of our team. Every member from our most junior volunteer paid on-call firefighter to our seasonal staff, to those that have been here 36, almost 37 years, right? Each individual plays an important part of this organization. And each opportunity that our team has to interact with our residents to increase that level of standard of service needs to be recognized, because we're asking more of our team. You hear from the council and our goals and priorities about raising the standard and increasing that level of service, and it takes people to deliver that. And so it was very humbling to be able to speak on that during the State of the City, because it's one thing to say it, it's another to put it out there and deliver it. And I believe by example, we will continue to deliver for our team, and our residents are ultimately the recipients and the benefactors of those actions. So thank you to each and every member of the team that is the City of Farmington, but also to our business owners, the volunteers, the community organizers, our faith leaders. This community runs because each and every one of us has a huge part in our community, and will continue to be successful because of the input of each and every one of you. So not only from this seat, but on behalf of the council, we appreciate each and every one of you and everything you do for our community. And with that, I look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Holly.
Second.
Second by Nick.
Nobody wants to leave?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And we are adjourned at 7:27.
Beautiful.